Hey, what's up everybody, welcome back to another No Man's Sky feature overview. This is a series of videos in which I go into full detail about certain mechanics or features in this game, way beyond the capabilities of your regular tips and tricks video. I've already covered the fleet system in a previous episode, so I'll urge you to go ahead and check that one out if you didn't already. But today I'll cover everything you need to know about the portals in No Man's Sky, as they are one of the most important features you want to get access to as early as possible, as they literally give you the possibility to travel into any corner of the known universe. The portals in No Man's Sky come in two versions: the terminus teleporter, which is the one available on every functioning space station, and starting with the current update it is also craftable on your base. The second one is the actual Stargate looking portal that can only be found on planets and requires glyphs to work. Both of these serve similar scopes, which is giving the players the ability to travel between 2 points within the same galaxy, but they do so in vastly different manners. I will go into full details for each of these, and along the way I will also show you some cool tricks that you can do. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting with the teleporter, as mentioned, this can be found on all functioning space stations and it is also craftable on your base. In order to be able to build it, you first need to buy its schematic from the blueprint analyzer at the cost of 2 salvage technologies. Salvage tech can be found in buried boxes that you need to scan for with your analyze visor and dig them out using the terrain editor tool. It requires nothing to be powered up, and upon accessing it for the very first time it will tell you it needs to be connected with another one, either on a space station or another base. To have a certain location on the list, you either need to access a second teleporter from another space station or by claiming a base, case in which your base will automatically be added on the list of possible locations. The list itself, unlike how it was until Atlas Rises, can now hold dozens of pages of locations, and it groups them into 2 categories, one for bases and one for space stations. You can see the distinction by the icon used by the UI. The list itself is also ordered by date, with the more recent discoveries being at the top and the older ones towards the end. The only exception to this is your primary base and the quests. For example, your active base will always show up at the top. Similarly, if you have an active mission in a certain system, they will appear at the top no matter how far along you've traveled to them. But now that we've finished with the basics, let's move on to with the big Stargate looking portal that makes things so much better in No Man's Sky. First, we'll go over how to actually find one, and while you could theoretically find one manually on any planet, your go-to way to do this would be by using a monolith. First, place down a signal booster and choose the option that points you towards the artifact. This could either reveal a monolith location, an ancient ruin, or a plaque. You will need to search for artifacts until the monolith location is revealed, because that's the only way to get directions towards a portal. Upon reaching the monolith, interact with the main structure and it will display you several dialogue options. You will need to pick the last one, which points you towards the portal itself, and you've probably also noticed that a certain special item is needed for that dialogue option to work. Depending on the type of system you are in and the dominating alien civilization, you'll either need a Viking dagger, a Korvax casing, or a Gak relic. I think it's self-explanatory which of these 3 items is needed in which system, which is why I'll move straight on to how to acquire them. In short, these items can be found in various ways, such as directly purchasing them from NPCs on space stations, either from the trading terminal itself. It can be rewarded from talking with NPCs at random. They can also drop from boxes scattered around the world or hidden in rooms. Fleet missions also tend to reward a number of these, and it seems to be a superior way of getting them. No matter what, eventually you'll get your hands on one of these items, case in which I'd urge you to simply save them in your inventory and not sell them, no matter how attractive the price point may seem to be in the beginning. After you have successfully got directed towards a portal and got to it, you'll realize that it has 16 glyph slots that need to be charged. In order to do this, you will need isotopes, oxides, and silicates to power them up. So make sure to have plenty of carbon, ferrite dust, and dihydrogen. After this is done, you can now activate the portal to start inputting a glyph address towards your desired destination. There are 16 glyphs you need to acquire in your travels in order to form a valid planetary address. Every planet in the galaxy has its own portal address that can be a sequence of any number of glyphs between 1 and 16. Keep in mind that portals only work in a specific galaxy. So even if you input an address from a planet in a different galaxy, you won't be able to travel there. Instead, you will just be teleported to a system in the current galaxy you are situated into. Also, if you input an address consisting of only the first glyph, this will bring you a few jumps away from the galactic core, and this is also a very fast way to get there to the galactic center in case you want to like finish the story really quickly or just want to move further on. This brings us to the next point, which is of course all about glyphs, as they are needed in order to operate the ancient alien portal. A lot of you already know this, but in order to find them you need to talk to a species of aliens called travelers. These can be found at random on space stations as well as on planetary outposts, and they look vastly different compared to the 3 default civilizations in the game. Whenever you stumble upon such an alien, make sure to ask it for its grave location by choosing the dialogue option that costs 100 nanites. This is a very rare encounter and you'll absolutely want to take all the chances you can get. Also, you could rename the system you found it in to let other players know of the presence of an alien traveler. After the option is picked, it'll point you towards a grave on a random planet in that solar system, so go ahead and grab it from the floating object. Each grave rewards 1 glyph and they are all rewarded in succession, so you will first start with the first glyph, then the second, then the third, up until the 16th. You can also mark the location of a grave with a communication station, so other players like you can go directly to it without having to talk to an NPC and, you know, just save some nanites in the process. Do keep in mind that if you happen to find 2 travelers in the same spot, they will not actually point you towards 2 separate graves, unfortunately. This has happened to me quite recently, and while I did find 2 travelers on the same space station, they both pointed towards the same grave location and I could only retrieve 1 glyph. Not sure if it's a bug or intended, but I just hope that in the end this will be fixed or at least adjusted. Also, I know that I have made in the past a video about a planet containing 14 of the 16 glyphs, making it an extremely easy way to farm them. We have done this on stream before the update went live. Unfortunately, the method does not work anymore, as all the planets in the galaxy and everything on them got completely reset since then. There's also an ongoing bug with acquiring glyphs as of patch 1.53, in which the game simply stops rewarding you any glyphs past a certain number of them, and no matter what you do, it will just not reward you any more glyphs. So I'm not sure when this will get fixed, but I hope it's gonna happen soon, because this bug also affects a recent save game of mine, and yeah, it kinda sucks, and a lot of people just want to get their portals already. Moving on, you have to unlock all the 16 glyphs as I've said, and you will now have the possibility to travel anywhere in your current galaxy. A portal, once recharged, will continue to stay recharged no matter how far away from it you travel, so you only need to do this once in order for it to continuously work. That is why I suggest you also set up either a communication station or a save beacon near it, so you always have access to it and know where its location is, because it won't be visible from outer space otherwise. Like, the icon disappears once you leave the planet. That's why putting down one of these devices is so important, because they will show up not only for you but for others and in outer space as well. Each galaxy has its own portal coordinates, and you cannot use the coordinates from one galaxy to port into another one, even though that would actually be really freaking cool. Using it is as easy as it goes. You have the ability to travel to any specific planet as long as you have its address. You can even input an address at random, and in case it's wrong, the portal itself will just display an error and instead teleport you to the nearest valid address instead. To find the planet address, you can either directly request it from the portal itself and it will display to you the full glyph sequence, or you could put down a signal booster and copy the code displayed on it. The string of letters and numbers can be decoded into working glyph coordinates on websites such as the Pilgrim Star Path. Starting with the current update, when you go through a portal, you will now spawn on the other side with your ship as well, which was previously not possible. Keep in mind that while you can enter your ship from the other side and travel to any space station and even to other systems, you won't be able to use the portals from over there, and they will instead be displaying a portal interference error. So there's still a limitation when it comes to traveling to the other side of the portal, but you can bypass this by using the same method that we have used in the past. In short, the method I'm talking about about is to first claim a base on the other side of the portal, which can easily be done now with the base computer, which literally can be placed anywhere. Then travel back to the original location, go to the space station in that very system, and from there take the teleporter to the newly created base, and you'll be able to continue freely without any restrictions. Keep in mind that if you venture into a certain system through the main portal without doing this, you can potentially ruin your portals for good if you warp too far away from your destination system, and you won't be able to retrace your steps. I've tested this out and I warped ahead in a few systems and could not retrace my steps back to the original one in which I landed, and this meant that none of the terminus teleporters worked for me anymore. I'm not sure if I could go back to another portal and go back to my location, but I will have to test that one out. So yeah, hopefully the glyph acquisition bug gets fixed soon, as the Galactic Hub is already expected to reveal its new location this Friday, which is tomorrow. Also, it's useful for folks who want to visit locations shared by others or collect multi-tools or whatever other discoveries people have found. But this concludes today's feature overview. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, a like and a subscribe would be super appreciated. Also, don't forget to activate the notification button, as you will get these videos earlier, and I will see you guys in the next one.